he told my father, well, I was there standing and I heard, and he said, don't, his kids turned him in to the communists. They like lived in the mountains and they came off in the mountains and they took a lot of the people and their own parents, mind you, they turned them in.
Their own kids turned the parents
Right.
in.
There's one guy that wrote to my father couldn't read or write. So when he was looking for us, he said, oh, this will tell you where they are. And it wasn't, it was to give him away, to give my father away. So he met another man that he knew. And he talked to him and he read it and he says, that's not that. If he didn't say that, they would have captured my father, you know?
Yeah.
And who was
So-
that? Tito?
Yeah,
Who was-
Marshal Tito.
That was the communist?
Well, yeah. He was the...
It was a
Yeah,
Marxist-
Bernie
it was a
Sanders,
Marxist utopia.
socialism.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah,
You know,
socialism,
when
yes.
Mason wrote his book about Papa, and that was part of the history of into Yugoslavia, and it was really kind of confusing, you know,
Well,
to explain
Tito-
it and understand it all. How
Tito-
Tito came in and
Well,
and
Tito was a partisan.
partisan, right?
Fought against
Partisan,
the
yeah.
Germans.
Right.
And when the Germans got overthrown, the communists supported him. The Germans got overthrown. He took over Yugoslavia, and he was a leader. And he was originally started off as a communist follower, just like what's his name in Cuba,
Bernie
Fidel
Sanders.
Castro. He started off as a follower of communism, but then he figured it all out, and he became his own dictator.
Yeah.
And the communists couldn't tell him what to do, because the Americans were trying to wean him over to American side, and the communists were trying to wean him over to the communist side. So he was getting treated by both real nice. And meanwhile, he was his own dictator.
Yeah, he was. Well, but his whole key to success, I was talking to Dusan about this, was that he managed to get everybody to play together over there,
Right.
right? There was the Bosnians and the
Yeah.
Macedonians and the
And
Croatians.
then-
They were all in Yugoslavia, and he kept them all together.
Yeah,
And
because
that's what it was,
yeah,
and that's why he.
because he had the communists on one side and the Americans on the other
Exactly,
side,
yeah.
and by him being in the middle, they were
Right.
all supporting him. And then when he croaked,
Yeah, that's
then
when it fell
Yugoslavia
apart.
fell
Yeah,
apart.
It just
broke
exploded.
in all kinds of pieces.
Because that's what
It was
Dusan
no-
used
no
to
together.
say. You know, he used to call himself non-aligned, right? Because because I used to call him a communist all the time.
Yeah.
And he's
You call our president a commie?
You call Dusan a communist?
from Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
He used to-
Hey,
No,
I mean, you know,
no,
communist. No,
It's-
until Elise
What
she
did
was,
he
you
call
get mad.
himself?
He was non-aligned.
Non-aligned to
He used to
either
call
side.
Good one, Danny.
Aunt
Not
Rose,
aligned,
we used
and
to
that
call
was- it
Lizzie
was
the
in the-
communist all the time.
It was in the 80s when that was, remember, non-aligned was a,
Yeah.
was a thing. And there was those countries like Yugoslavia and, you know, there were some other countries, some countries were communist, others were sort of communist, but they were not really with, you know, the Russians and not really with us.
Aunt Rose,
Yeah,
when
it
Lizzie
is.
came
It
over,
is.
when she came over, I guess Mom told me a story when